Ever since the Acheron verification race began, there have been numerous different versions of the level with varying amounts of difficulty floating around. Today, I'm going to be explaining every single version of the level that's out there right now, with their changes and expected difficulty. Ryamu's version of Acheron is the first version of the level that surfaced. It is the one featured on Riot's YouTube channel, being showcased on July 7th, 2021. The level is significantly easier than all other versions of the level today, but it is also no longer in use. I felt like including it here for historical purposes. As for the difficulty, the level is around top 10 in difficulty, with the difficulty range between Fire Rank and Tartarus, which would make it a respectable top 10 today. When Wolves began verifying the level, he chose to buff it to make it up to par with the top of the list, and today, it is likely the most well-known and recognizable version of the level. It was the starting point of the verification race that is still ongoing when Wolves unfortunately dropped it due to health reasons. As for the difficulty of the level, it is a significant step up from Ryamu's original version. The level is harder in nearly every aspect, and aimed to be harder than Firework, which was not yet released at the time. Today, it stands as a respectable top 3, likely harder than Succuban Circles, and is comparable to Abyss of Darkness in difficulty. It is worth noting that with the buffs, the level is physically impossible on 60Hz, which was one of the big reasons for changing some of the parts later on. The alpha version is currently what I play on in the verification race. The level has had one nerf at 31%, where a jump that originally had only 2 frames of success on 360Hz is now 4 frames. Additionally, I made sure the level is possible on 60Hz by adding fixes to impossible clicks. To counteract this, small buffs have been implemented in the pre-job and other easier sections in order to keep the level harder than the Wolves version, and therefore be acceptable to verify. But don't worry, I was careful with the buffs. I made sure to tone things back if I found them to be unfun. As for my take on the difficulty, I believe that it's right around Slaughterhouse in difficulty. It is almost certainly at least top 2, but I wouldn't yet rule out the possibility of this version being harder than Slaughterhouse. Zoink's version of Acheron is currently the hardest active version being verified. He is also the active leader in progress at 96%. But to be brutally honest, this version is just painful to play. There's just fixed hitboxes thrown in random spots and random buffs that feel incredibly forced. Why is every click in this wave now 60Hz frame perfect? I don't really feel the necessity of it as the level is already hard enough, but it's not my place to say that. This version is fully agreed on by everyone that's played it to be top 1 on today's Demon list, dethroning Slaughterhouse. But it sacrifices a lot of enjoyment for difficulty, which isn't a good thing for a level this hard. Doggy has just recently picked up the level to join the race, and he has also made his own fixed version that he has listed with Pastebin. I'll put it on screen for you all to see. As you can see, he made more buffs than nerfs, but to be honest, I find Doggy's version easier than the Wolves version. Not only that, it's equally as poorly balanced as the Zoink version. These buffs in the wave at 24% are completely unnecessary and change the click pattern completely. These changes at 68% feel forced in order to balance out difficulty. Same thing for 33% and 86%. But the biggest change is nerfing the 62% click into Oblivion. This went from being one of the hardest clicks in the level to one of the easiest, and combined with the nerfs at 94%, it takes away too much difficulty. To give Doggy some credit though, while moving in the structures in place of fixed hitboxes as a visual nerf, they are good changes. Fixed hitboxes and levels aren't good in excess, and I appreciate the effort to reduce them. But the nerfs bumped this version from being a surefire top 3 to an iffy one at best. The final version to talk about is the most recent one, and this one came out of nowhere. Riot decided to upload a super buffed copy of Acheron on his account in order to show off the quote-unquote unnerved state of the level. To describe this version, imagine running a marathon barefoot, then having to run the entire track on Legos. This version is painful to the point where I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. This version is borderline impossible in its current state, and I don't see this one seeing the light of day. So, now that I've explained all the versions of the level currently roaming around, I'll leave my closing thoughts here. Do I want the level to be hard? Absolutely. But in my mind, keeping the level fun and balanced is more important to me. I don't want Acheron to be another bad 5 in an already abysmal top 10 right now. That's why I'm not playing on the Zoink version anymore. I'm okay with the level placing below Slaughterhouse as long as more people would enjoy it as a result. Thanks for watching this video all the way through. My goal for today was to clear up all the differences between the current versions of the level, and giving clear estimates of the difficulties of each. I hope you now understand the situation a bit better. Thanks for watching, now I'm going back to playing Acheron.